Ah, thanks, Spooky. He says he didn't hear he doesn't hear anything. My mic was mute all this time. And Randolph Richardson is saying that he just popped in to say hello. And he also noticed that there's no audio. He's suggesting cancelling the stream and starting over. No, well, I won't cancel the stream, but I will start that news. I will share that news again. And oh, typical. Right. So yeah, fury at do not resuscitate notices given to COVID patients with learning disabilities. People with learning disabilities have been given do not resuscitate orders during the second wave of the pandemic, in spite of widespread condemnation of the practice last year and an urgent investigation by the care watchdog. MENCAP said it had received reports in January from people with learning disabilities that they had been told they would not be resuscitated if they were taken ill with COVID-19. So yeah, this is despicable in my opinion. I have learning disabilities. We've got a hi, folks, from Wild Eden. Hi, Wild Eden. I don't think I know you, but hi. Well, you're welcome. Welcome to the show. Thanks for dropping by. So yeah, let me know what you think about that, guys. Let's move on. Oh, yeah, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for I appreciate it. And okay, so the next story that I want to talk about is that the Liberal Democrats, the Liberal Democrat Party, are in trouble at the moment. They're doing really badly in the polls, and on top of that, they're in a racism cover-up scandal at the moment. It was reported by the Canary earlier this week. Let's see if I can find the. Let's see if I can find the story. I'm sorry about this. I'm usually more organised than this. But we've had all kinds of problems. We had audio issues, and but they've been fixed now. Oh, let's see. Oh, anyway, I can't find. I'm sorry, I can't find the story. Oh, lots of things happening in the chat. Bed hair, my boss is now sub to me. LOL. Says Wild Eden. And 5 people watching now. Good. Thanks for dropping by. Let's see what else I can talk about. back. Um, yes. So there's a story from the Daily Mail that's yeah. Well, back, oh, hang on. Let's get rid of this. Oh, pop-ups. But the Tories are aiming to get us back in the pubs by Easter. And Boris Johnson is under pressure to back in the pub garden by Easter. PM's new scrap 10 p.m. curfew and substantial. Oh, I hate this. And substantial meal requirements, as Boris says he's optimistic about downward trend in COVID. Number 10 plans to allow the beleaguered hospitality industry to lift its shutters, most likely on Tuesday, March the 30th. Primary and secondary pupils are set to go back on school March the 8th after months of learning from home. Restrictions on sports such as tennis and golf, where social distancing is easier, likely to be eased in April. The news comes as Prime Minister prepares to celebrate meeting his target of vaccinating the 15 million most vulnerable people in the UK by tomorrow. In his most upbeat assessment for weeks, Mr. Johnson yesterday said, "I won't hide it from you. I'm optimistic, but we have to be cautious. If the downward trend for infections, hospitalizations, and deaths continues, primary and secondary school pupils will return to classrooms on March the 8th. On the same day, picnics will be permitted within households, and if one person wants to meet up with another." I'm going to stop sharing this because there's just too many, too many pop-ups. It's annoying. Anywho, back in the pubs, Wild Eden is saying, back in the pubs by Easter. I wonder if that's the same in Scotland. I have lost track. Yes, I wonder. But I'm not sure if I trust this because we don't know the impact of these new strains of the virus, and these new strains are faster spreading as well. But we'll see. And fair play to the government. They do at least seem to be on track to, they do seem to be on track, and with the injections, with the vaccines. So maybe we will all be back in the pub garden by Easter. Who knows? um, and but the thing is, but the problem is Boris Johnson is under pressure. He's under pressure from the same people who put Theresa May under pressure when she was trying to put her Brexit deal through. They, the backbenchers led by, um, if I can look at my notes here, Steve Baker, chair, he's the chair of the COVID recovery group. He and he and his group of backbenchers are putting Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, under pressure to open up as soon as possible. The Brexit hard man has become the COVID hard man, and he's backed by 62 MPs, and they're all putting Boris under pressure to ease the lockdown restrictions. And talking of Boris Johnson, that leads us onto our next story. Excuse me. The Borris Burrow. Yes. This is the news, of course, that Boris Johnson is planning to build a tunnel between Scotland and Northern Ireland. Oh, hi, Brain Bug. Hello, welcome. So let's just share that story. Yeah, Irish Sea tunnel leads nowhere. Boris Johnson told as plan widely dismissed. Has become known as the Borris Burrow. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been urged to forget the feasibility of building a multi-billion pounds link to Scotland and instead spend money on projects with a better chance of seeing light at the end of the tunnel. Ha ha ha. Yesterday, another idea was floated in the ongoing discussion of building a fixed link between Scotland and Northern Ireland. Infrastructure Minister Nicola Mallon said it would be better for the Prime Minister to focus his efforts less on Tory glamour projects. And it looks like you have to subscribe to see the rest of the article, unfortunately. But so, yeah, people are criticising the Borris Burrow, saying that this is just an ego trip for Boris Johnson. And as you've just heard, people are saying that it will go nowhere. But just to add some perspective, the proposed tunnel under the Irish Sea will be 25 miles long. Now the Channel Tunnel between Dover and Calais is 31.5 miles long, and that's according to TLDR News. So it's not impossible. World Eden is asking, like the Channel Tunnel. Yeah, exactly like the Channel Tunnel. So again, it's not impossible. It's doable. It's been done before. And, the Channel Tunnel is, it's about 5 miles longer than this tunnel that is going to be. But the problem is the difference between the Channel Tunnel and Borris's Burrow, or whatever you want to call it, is that the Channel Tunnel connects two major cities, London and you've got London nearby and Paris nearby on the other end, and connects two major trading blocks, namely London and the EU. But this tunnel is not so much. It's connects two rather obscure ports. One in Scotland and one in Northern Ireland. And another issue is that it could cost up to £18 billion. And a third issue is that it won't really solve the problem that Boris has with with red tape at the Irish Sea border. That won't be resolved because it's not the land, or the sea. That's the issue. It's the border itself. That is causing the issue with trade, but with trade going through. So critics are saying, that money could be spent elsewhere. And an issue that I have with Boris being in charge of this is that he couldn't even build a bridge in London, for goodness sake. How does he expect to build a tunnel under the Irish Sea? But, well, it's just a vanity project as far as I'm concerned. But it looks like it's going ahead. It could well go ahead. The Tories have a majority, so there's nothing much to stop them from putting it through. But we'll see. Another story that I want to talk about is, do you remember the Zoom cat lawyer? The Zoom cat lawyer, the lawyer who accidentally left a cat filter on when he was participating in an important news story, an important conference over Zoom, and he he couldn't take the cat filter off, and he rather unnecessarily said, I'm here live, I'm not a cat. Remember him? Well, there's more to this story than meets the eye. Apparently, and he, quite a few years ago, he allegedly used federal agents to harass a former lover with drug raids. And I'm just trying to find the news story for you. It's rather quite interesting. But it's from the George Takei website. It's typical of this episode of On the Sofa. With everything that's been happening, I can't find it now. We've had lots of issues. But let's But basically, he had a one night stand, and he harassed this poor girl. And and he sent the Fed, he sent the feds around on a trumped up charge of drug possession. So, but anyway, let's move on to the next story. And oh, there's something happening in the chat. Oh, I can't. It won't let me bring the chat up. And oh, it's one thing after the other. I can't access the chat now. Sorry. Oh dear. This is embarrassing. But anyway, moving on. We soldier on. If anyone wants to join me, just let me know, and I'll try and send you a link. Okay. Hang on. Oh, I thought I had a message, but I don't. It's okay. It's okay. Well, but the Labour Party are doing appallingly in the polls at the moment. Yeah, you'd think that this, with everything that's happening, with how badly the Tories have been handling the pandemic, you'd think they'd be doing a lot better in the polls. You'd think they'd be polling a lot better by now, but they're not. They're in trouble. And people, the critics of Keir Starmer are calling for him to stand down. And so he's calling in, a former aide to Tony Blair called I can't remember his I can't remember his first name, but he's called Mandelson. He used to be known as the Prince of Darkness back in the day. So he's calling him in to try to help Labour, get that winning spirit back. And and obviously people on the left don't like this idea. Because because New Labour, that's old news. And they feel it's time to move on from New Labour now and do things differently. And people are leaving the Labour Party in their droves because they don't feel that, well, they don't feel inspired. They don't feel inspired by Keir Starmer. And I know I can see where they're coming from. I don't feel inspired by Keir Starmer either. I found the speech that he gave earlier today to be really boring, frankly. And it reminds me of that quote from Hamilton. Yeah, that quote from it reminds me of that quote from Hamilton. Jeremy Corbyn has beliefs. Starmer has none. And anyway, let's move on to another story. that I want to talk about. Let's move on. Yes, the Brexit dividend. Yes, we're still talking about Brexit. But I think it's important to keep talking about Brexit because it's a nightmare basically. And this is a story from the Byline Times, and thankfully the link is working this time. Gove complacency as trade nightmares strike the UK. David Henk, I'm sorry if I butchered that name, reports on the growing problems experienced by firms trading with the EU and the lack of help from the Vote Leave government. A huge gap is growing between the attitudes of the Cabinet Office and the experiences of businesses after Brexit. Michael Gove, the Cabinet Office Minister and senior Cabinet Office civil servants, this week told the Commons European Scrutiny Committee that lorry movements across the Dover Straits have returned to 90% of normal and that movements between Holyhead and Northern Ireland are higher than last year. Yet evidence given by the industry, the food and drinks trade, and ports, both to the Common Welsh and Scottish Affairs Committees, show that trade has halved. The Scottish fishing industry has been wrecked. Firms are now setting up outside the UK, and bureaucracy has led to hikes in transport charges and goods being confiscated. Outside the UK, ferry companies are scrambling to provide new direct services from France to Ireland in order to avoid the UK, leading to dramatic increases in traffic through the Irish ports of Rosslare, Cork, and Dublin. New services have been launched from Dunkirk, Cherbourg, St. Malo, and Roscoff. So yeah, it's a nightmare basically. The article goes on, more than teething. MPs were also given some egregious examples of the problems caused by post-Brexit friction to individual firms. Ian Price, the director of the Confederation of British Industry in Wales, said one South Wales drugs company was moving its production of time-sensitive cancer drugs to Dublin after 200 to 300 consignments had to be destroyed because they got lost in the system. Conservative MP Stephen Crabb, chair of the Welsh Affairs Committee, has written to Simon Hart, the Welsh Secretary, demanding he investigates the situation facing Welsh pharmaceutical companies. MPs were also told that a 100,000 consignment of lamb carcasses had to be destroyed after one fell off the back of the lorry. Another firm that shifts large machinery to the EU has faced a £250,000 increase in transport charges. The thing is, we all said that these things would happen. We all said that these things would happen, but people would just laugh at us and say, "Oh, that's just Project Fear." But here we are. These things are happening. It wasn't Project Fear. It's a disaster. It's a mess. What other news have we got? Let's have a look. Ah, here we go. Yes. From The Guardian. I'll just share that with you. Yeah, proposed free speech law will make English universities liable for breaches. No platformed speakers could get compensation under plans unveiled by Gavin Williamson. There he is. There's a picture of him. The government is to introduce legislation that will enable academic students or visiting speakers who are no platformed to sue universities for compensation where they feel they have suffered because of free speech infringements. The proposal is one of a range of legal measures put forward by the Education Secretary, Gavin Williamson, as part of the government's manifesto commitment to protect free speech and academic freedom in universities in England. However, critics warned the legislation will be fraught with difficulties and fiercely opposed by many, including the university and college union, which accused the government of fighting phantom threats to free speech rather than addressing the COVID crisis in higher education. Among the other government proposals that will be fleshed out on Tuesday is the appointment of a free speech champion who will investigate potential infringements of free speech in higher education and recommend redress. So that's happening. And I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's just a way it's just a smoke, it's just, smoke and mirrors, basically, a way for them to say, don't look at what's happening, here, look at this, don't look at the mess we're making with COVID, look at, we've got to look at this free speech champion we're appointing. Unbelievable. Um, so let's see if I can fix the side the side chat situation. Let's see what I can do about this. This is usually, I mean, I've had issues in the past, but this has been the worst show for issues I've ever had. This is it. If things keep going like this, I may call it a night, to be honest. But anyway, we soldier. I'm going to soldier on for a bit longer. We'll see how we get on. Oh yeah, Randolph Richardson is saying the fact that a government even needs a free speech champion makes it pretty clear that the politicians have completely lost touch with what freedom of expression is. Yeah, that's a good point, Randolph. Yeah, exactly. I can't remember how I found Black Sofa, but I'm glad I did. Oh, thanks, Wild Eden. I appreciate it. So apparently the My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell, is going to be sued by Dominion over false fraud claims. And that's from the Daily Beast. Now this is a good one. Joe Biden rejects 50,000 debt forgiveness. He says that the government shouldn't forgive the debt of students who went to Harvard, Yale, and Penn. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. But should rich students have to pay their own student loans? I don't know. Let me know what you think. And I think remember AOC had something to say about this. Let's see if I can bring that up because it's quite interesting. Just hang on. Here we go. Good. So let's share this. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, aka AOC, said this. She said, number one, who cares what school someone went to? Entire generations of working class kids were encouraged to go into more debt under the guise of elitism. This is wrong. Two, nowhere does it say we must trade off early childhood education for student loan forgiveness. We can have both. So, and that's her response to this story. That Biden completely rejects Schumer/Warren proposal to cancel $50,000 of student loan debt per borrower. I will not make that happen. Says he doesn't want to forgive debts of borrowers from elite schools, and money would be better spent on early childhood education. But he did go on to say that community college should be free for everyone. So let me know what you think about that. Let's see. Let's see what's happening in the chat. Yeah, Wild Eden is saying, I'm still paying off a student loan from 1990. Wow. And Randall, oh, okay, I won't share that. That's not necessary to share. Okay. And okay, I'm going to sign off because frankly, this dream has been a bit disastrous. But before I go, I want to share a few things. I want to because last week, African Humanist was in the chat, and she was asking, what was the difference between right and left, in the context of politics. And I think, myself and frustrated atheists did a good job of explaining that. But I thought, but earlier this week, I found these useful these useful slide, these useful slide from Simple Politics, explaining things, really, and they explain things really well. So first of all, what is liberalism? Freedom. Liberals love a bit of freedom. Freedom to do what you would like to do. Freedom to be who you want to be. Freedom to express yourself in any way you wish. They just can't always agree what freedom actually is. Freedom from. Freedom from means that you are free from state interference. Governments shouldn't be banning stuff or taking too much tax. Of course, you can take drugs if you want to. It's your body. Gambling? We're not going to tell you how to spend your money. Freedom too. If you've not had a good education, good healthcare, and a decent home, you're not very free. If you're trapped in a cycle of addiction and abuse, you're not free. Freedom too, liberals, believe in creating a state that supports everyone in society so we can all be free to pursue our own path to happiness, even if this does mean a little more tax. So that's liberalism in a nutshell. What is conservatism? Conserving. This is a wonderful country. Sure, there are changes to be made, but look at all the things we've achieved. We need to keep what's got us here. That means the church, the capitalist system, the monarchy and democracy, law and order. These things give us a sense of identity and belonging, as well as a structure within which to live and work. Organic society. The family unit is the center of the community. It's here that we learn values and how to relate to each other. We learn about rules and boundaries as well as love and support. Property. If you own things, you look after them. You clean your car and your garden. You have skin in the game. The success of your community matters that much more. So you'll get involved. You may also be motivated because you aspire to have more property one day in the future. So that's conservatism in a nutshell. What is socialism? Equality. Whoever we are all equal. Every single person is as entitled to shelter, food, and justice as anyone else. Cooperation. In order to achieve equality, we need to work together. Competition only encourages people to put themselves first. Collaboration and cooperation makes us better people. Community. We need strong communities where people can collaborate and care about one another. Wealth is created by everyone, and so everything should be shared, creating a happy community. If everything is made by the community, then everything should be owned by the community. This takes away individualism and makes sure everyone is working together for the common good instead of working for the rich businessman. Social class. We need to see the end of social class and move to a society where there is no division, but everyone is equal and working together. this will create a more harmonious society. And yeah, so I found, I mean, obviously it's not as simplistic as that, but these are, these are, I found these useful, starters, if you like, useful, nutshell descriptions of the three main political stances, liberalism, conservatism, and socialism. And and again, I got these from Simple Politics, and I'll try and put a link to Simple Politics in the description box somewhere. And Randolph Richardson is saying these definitions are quite good. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they the they're a start. They're just they're a good kind of starting point to help you to understand these these political stances. So I'm going to wrap things up. So hopefully next week will be better. Please come back, please. But seriously, if you've liked this video and you'd like to see more, then do subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out. On the Sofa is every Thursday at 10 p.m. British time, which I believe is 4 p.m. Central time. So, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. And there are other videos on my channel to choose from as well. And I'll say goodbye for now, and hopefully next week will be better.